Starfleet Underground. Every week, we'll take a look at the latest Star Trek news and then check out a current or classic episode of Star Trek. This week, new planet, who dis? Archer could wait 7 or 8 days and first scan the planet, make sure it's safe, or we could just skip all that and go shuttle down right now. Also, T'Pol doesn't smile, Travis tells spooky stories, Trip goes trippin', Novakovich gets beamed in the wind, and Porthos takes a...
Wow, I appreciate you showing me a picture of it, but I'm sure medical did a great job, and you're right. There is no scars whatsoever, Patrick. You can get back to your location, please. Oh, the light's on. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We're back here with another wonderful episode of Starfleet Underground. We're trying our best to get some of you out there that don't like Enterprise to like Enterprise. Hopefully, when you hear our description of it, you'll be able to enjoy the show more. And also, there's a side bet that we can make Heather go crazy by the theme song.
It's working.
The votes are still out there on when that's going to happen.
It's an easy bet.
It's an easy bet.
Seriously, we've had people on the thing. It's like, when is she going to break? So even the Vulcans get put money in. So this is going to be really interesting on that. My name, of course, is Nathan. I'm the captain of this wonderful Defiant class vessel, and the full crew is here. We have our science officer.
Hi, I'm Heather Ferris. I'm the science officer. And yeah, I completely agree with you, Captain. I got nothing but rants and like what the hells and all sorts of stuff about Enterprise. And we're only on episode 4.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch you slowly de-evolve.
Oh my God.
It's going to be so cool.
People are complaining that we're covering Enterprise.
No, I'm just saying this song, Heather, they're making bets that Heather's going to crack because you know how much she doesn't like the song.
Not just the song. Oh my God, the episode. I have rants all throughout my notes about the episode, like this and that and what the hell.
Okay.
And
all right. Well, that reminds me, before we go to our computer person, excuse me, if you're a young child right now listening to us, I'm sure you find our voices soothing, but there is something you should know. This show is not for you.
Get the fuck out!
Get the hell out of here before we grab your Pampers and give you a wedgie. Don't listen.
Get out!
The following program is brought to you by people who shouldn't be listening to this show.
Do not.
go the fuck to sleep.
And if you listen without permission, we're going to send a Ferengi to hide underneath your bed and give your mother umox. So don't do it.
And take your money.
And take your money.
Don't, you got to guard that piggy bank right there.
I ain't giving nobody's mother umox.
For me, you like the piggy bank.
Yes,
my.
they do. And speaking of liking piggy banks, we have our computer person.
I'm not sure what that reference is supposed to be.
I think he meant memory banks.
Yeah, okay, I did meant that.
Remember when science fiction shows used to call computer memory banks?
Yeah.
Yep.
Back in the day.
Well, I'm Patrick. I'm the computer guy. I'm also number 1, and I'm the foreign species liaison, which is pretty apropos, being that our captain has an alien ass.
That's because it's perfect.
Oh.
Yeah. That's not what the Klingons around Uranus said.
That was a pretty good setup.
And why do you think they like being on there? Because it said it's a warrior's ass. So you need to stop.
Please, it's the dark side of the moon. What are you talking about?
And yours is
It's
the black
cold
hole.
and vacuous.
Yeah, and yours is the black hole. And anything gets near it gets sucked in. So we already know about that. And talking about, well, actually, I can't say anything bad about this guy because he's just awesome. He's our engineer.
I'm sure somebody can think of something bad. Hi, I'm Rocky. I'm the engineer, and we will be talking about memory banks later.
Oh, I just got a notification from your sister. She says she'll talk about something bad later.
Oh, they're great.
She comes
Thanks a
on
lot.
during the week.
You know, I really was upset that we needed more female voices on this show. And what do you go get my sister? I mean, of all the people.
Oh my God, the pictures she showed us was worth it. Oh,
Yeah.
I thought I was going to bust a gut to try to stop laughing when you walked into the room.
Yep. Baby pictures are the best, man.
Oh,
That was like last week.
amazing. Amazing.
You still had your birthday suit on.
Ew.
Thank you.
Thank God I wasn't here.
Even Patrick, when I showed him the picture, and he goes, "Wow, Rocky's ass is still round and kind of perfect like that, isn't it?"
Well,
You did not show me no pictures. Shut
yes,
up.
he did. I was in the same room. It was a perfect round ass, and right on top was a chandelier glass, and he was pouring chandelier behind him.
Yes.
He was pouring chandelier behind him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Champagne?
So he was
Whatever.
He was pouring the light switch of that hangs from the ceiling.
I really like fancy lights. I mean, I'm all about the fancy lights.
Champagne.
It just flows
I didn't mean to
right
say
off of my ass.
It was amazing to see.
Bounce the light right off my ass. It's so
Talk
light.
about-
You could light an entire room with it.
And talk about your lens flares.
Yeah. Strategically placed lens flare.
Oh my God. It was really something else. Yes. Okay. This show is being brought to you by Section 31. Thank God HR doesn't listen to us much anymore from the work that Patrick has done with our representative. Thank you, Patrick, for giving one to the team.
As opposed to taking one for the team, which is...
Yeah.
Just gave him a hand with some work and,
And that's what you call a hand off.
yeah.
You had a job with your hand?
It was a hand off, hand on,
Oh, like the Karate Kid.
I'm a hands-on kind of guy.
Oh my God. So he was doing it like hands on, hands off.
Now,
Hands on,
you
hands
realize
off.
3/4 of our audience just had their lights flicker on and off.
No
So are you
doubt.
saying that they're old?
No, I'm saying they got the clap.
The clapper.
Well, there is a medication now for the clap.
Well, we're gonna check your medication and find out if we had a flawless show. Any bad news came in through the communication panel there, Patrick?
I do not see anything. Nope, nothing.
Good. Next, we're going to go ahead and touch on the news. Do you have any news for us, dear science officer?
Yes, so unfortunately, we have some sad news this week. Christopher Plummer passed away. He played Shane in the 1991 film Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. And apparently he was a diehard Trekkie fan before being cast in that movie.
Legendary actor.
Very, from The Sound of Music. And he was one of the few people that even at his age, he was an incredible force of nature.
Yeah.
When it came to doing film.
Everyone knows, if they don't know him from Star Trek, they will know him as Captain Von Trapp from, Sound of Music and his glorious rendition of Edelweiss.
It's a sad day that we start losing all the people that we very strongly familiar with that does such amazing work.
Over 6 decades of TV, film, and stage.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
Moving on, Pat, do you have any news for us?
I do not have any news. I'm newsworthy list.
And how about you there, winner of the O'Brien Engineering Award?
Worthy of some news. Hey, movies, they still exist. They're out there if you can find them. If not, they're on the net eventually. Woman in Motion. If I can just say the 3 words right. Woman in Motion. Nichelle Nichols documentary is coming to on-demand and digital February 16th. It should be out in the theaters now if you happen to have a theater open near you. And if not, just wait next week or 2 and it'll be out online. Now, this is about Nichelle working with NASA in the 70s. She was helping them boost up NASA's reputation with, they were a little bit white and they weren't they were turning away women. They were turning away women. So think about that for a second and realize how horrible that must have been in the 70s. She helped fix that and change their image and open it up for people. So the people looking on digital, if you're an Apple TVer, you'll also get exclusive bonus features with the story behind the story featurette, deleted scenes, and you can see the teasers and trailers. And if you're just curious, before, just taking a peek, there's a couple trailers on trekmovie.com you can take a look at too. This looks like a cool documentary, and Nichelle Nichols fans will just be like all over this.
Well, I wonder, does anyone know because last year in May, they were supposed to have a Nichelle Nichols con, hailing frequencies open that, it was supposed to happen, but it obviously because of COVID, it didn't. Has anyone heard anything about that? Because, I bought tickets and,
well, the show was going to have like a big to-do, I think last year, and it was one of those things that was canceled right away because of the COVID pandemic. And it was supposed to be one of her last public appearances, I thought.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
And apparently the people who were putting on this con were not refunding you your money. They were just, your tickets would be available the next time. But so far there isn't a next time. So, Well,
what are you going to do?
Rumor has it that they were going to give you some sort of voucher for merchandise.
Oh,
yeah.
So you, instead of the ticket, you would get pictures, autographs, and all this other stuff. So they're going down the road that creation goes down.
Yeah, I spent $150 on those tickets. tickets, so I don't know what they think they're going to give me for $150.
They're just Ferengi.
Was it a job with a hand?
Happy time.
It better be pretty damn good.
That'd be expensive for one of those, right? I think the going rate's a little lower.
Just a little bit, yeah.
HR enjoyed it, so that who knows?
But anyway, it's very cool seeing this historic footage from the 70s of NASA and the promotional materials and interviews with Nichelle back then. I mean, the vintage 70s stuff right there. That's cool on its own.
Well, I'm adding it to my list right off the bat, so I know that I'm going to see it. The news that I have is that Star Trek Lower Decks, as well as Star Trek Picard, was nominated for the NAACP Image Award. So that is the first Image Award for Star Trek in over 2 decades.
Whoa, really? That long? My goodness.
First one in 2 decades. I know, seriously.
Well, it's been a while, right? Yeah.
So it's cool.
I mean, you would have thought Discovery would have gotten one.
Yeah, but nope, it hasn't. 2 decades, 20 years before any of them gets promoted over to the NAACP for the Image Award. So that's actually good news. Cool. So I'm really happy about that. And I guess that's it for our news section.
Oh, well,
which brings us to
real quick. Yes. It's not really news, but it's sort of a tie-in from Picard. Captain Rios from Picard. If you haven't seen it's on CBS All Access. It's called Salvation. It's about an apocalyptic asteroid that's going to hit Earth, but there's all this intrigue and government coup. And anyway, Santiago Cabrera is the lead in this, and it's really good so far.
He plays the asteroid?
Did you say?
Yeah, he's the asteroid. No, he's.
Did you say government goo?
Government coup, not goo.
Oh,
this isn't your bedroom.
That's a different story. Okay.
Yes.
It's like, oh my God.
But he's the lead in Salvation, and he's the genius, and it's really good. I finished the first. There's only 2 seasons. I finished the first. I'm on the second.
Cool.
Okay, I'm gonna have to give a look on that one. And thank you, Patrick. It looks like your operation that happened along with the Tribbles. They actually are doing something other than cooing. I see them like head to your room from time to time, and they sing an old song from back in the 50s or 60s or 70s. I'm not sure, but they're going down the hall going lollipop, lollipop, oh lolly, 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 lollipop, lollipop, oh lolly, 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 lollipop.
There you go. I can't do the pop. I have to. There we go. I got the pop.
So I never thought they would do anything but make noise or go food. So thank you for whatever you did. As the guy used to say from painting, it was a happy little accident.
I showed him a picture of you, and in order for them to not go completely stark raving mad, they had to start singing that song.
Oh my God. Okay, this is it. The only way to keep you quiet now is Heather, you're on.
Yes, sir. Hi, Captain. So this week's episode is Star Trek Enterprise Season 1, Episode 4, Strange New World. It first aired October 10th, 2001. Teaser, A Strange New World. As the lower deckers complain about eating their shitty replicator food, they spot a glowing green Earth-like planet just outside their windows. The bridge crew sees it and are so excited to go exploring. T'Pol is the only sensible one that wants to follow protocol, but the captain dismisses T'Pol's concerns, ordering a shuttle down to the planet against her wishes, and then puts her in charge of the on-ground survey operation.
Well, this is the first time, I mean, chronologically, where you find out what an M-class planet is.
Yes.
Yeah, who would have thought? It's Minshara class.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Minshara
Minshara.
class.
Minshara. Okay,
I don't know. It looks like Minchesta, but I got auto-corrected over here, but it was Minshara class. What class
that's the Vulcan planetary classification. So the Vulcans are the one that came up with the M-class planet classification.
Well, I don't know if they came up with it, but they were using it.
They did. I looked it up.
Oh, okay. It does sound Vulcan, doesn't it?
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was really cool.
It does.
I just, she's a bug girl, the Ensign Cutler. Is she an Ensign?
Right. Yeah.
Cutler is into bugs, and she's eating soup while looking at bugs. You want to gross somebody out, give me a bug girl and make her eat veggie soup and look at a bug book. Well,
it's funny because she's trying to be all buddy to T'Pol, and Tucker's like, you'd have better luck making friends with the housefly.
she seemed nice. I mean, it was pretty. She seemed like a nice, friendly person. But yeah, conversations with a Vulcan. You know, the planet's been there a long time. It'll be there in 7 days. I mean, just send the probes. Let's wait. Just make sure everything's okay. Just to make sure. Just cross all the D's, cross all the T's, leave the D out of it, and dot the I. Don't dot in the I. But anyway,
no D in the I.
No D in the I.
Oh, jeez. And this planet, we see this planet later on too. This planet is mentioned or seen multiple times after this. And later on, they named this planet Archer 4. And this planet was originally mentioned as the site of the battle between the Klingons and the USS Enterprise D and the Next Generation, yesterday's Enterprise. And then the other time it was mentioned was when Captain Archer mentioned the planet to Captain Hernandez in the 4th season outing home.
All I know is this planet has no humanoids on it, and makes you just say, "What? Why is nobody on this place? Where'd the people go?"
Well, it's got rock people.
The thing is, that comes later. Stop being a spoiler. Well, I think the thing is when they go and they scan it and they look at it and they go like, wow, we're here. And Picard Archer is all excited about going down and everything. That's going to be the next section, I think, because this section, we only see the people looking through the window going, oh, yeah, let's look. And then Heather's The Hated Song comes on.
Yes. But they do, T'Pol does try to follow protocol. She just tried to scan the planet, but they're like, no, we're so excited. We don't need to scan the planet.
We could
just go right down there. It'll be fine.
And we just can't hide it.
And that's the same thing that Kirk would do.
Yeah.
It's like, don't do it. I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah. And you know what makes me, okay, here's a rant. One of my rants that I was talking about. Yep. So Archer says, one of his quotes is, we don't want to go waltzing into their backyard. Oh my God. Like, now you care? You had no problem breaking and entering in like the last episode. Like, oh, let's go in there and break and entering and say hi to those people. But this time he's like, no. We can't just go waltzing in their backyard. Someone might own it. I'm like, now? What the?
There's logic there.
He's human. Logic also.
It's like, we're going to go down to our virginal planet. We scanned it. There's nothing there. But let's bring our microbes and bacteria down to it.
Yes.
Oh, one microbe and no big deal.
I was going to say if they beamed down, that would have filtered out all the...
we don't want to beam down. Nobody wants to beam down. We're taking the shuttle pod. We don't trust those transporter technologies.
There's an old Earth magazine called Heavy Metal that I used to read. And one of the Heavy Metal magazines was a little strip where they had sent these scientists back miniaturized to see when life first formed on Earth. So they get into this water, they're looking, and it says, okay, we should be able to see the first single-celled organism that's going to turn out to be humans. And then they get to that point, then there's a whole sea of them. It goes, oh my God, there's way too many of them. How they're all here like this? And the ship gets eaten. It cuts to the surface, and there's a spaceship half in out of the water, and there's another alien, and he's taking a dump. and he wipes his ass, and he goes, I can't believe you just took a dump on a pristine virginal planet like that. He says, oh, shut up. Nobody else is here. Who knows? Maybe they grow up to be sentient life. Oh, intelligent shit. Yeah, right. And the ship takes off.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's an issue. It's like, do we not want to pollute and keep our microbes to ourselves? Or, life has got to get together with life anyway. So what does it matter? Let's go be exploratory. It's an issue. And I'm sure science has an official viewpoint on this. But sometimes you just want to go take the ride.
Yeah, he didn't think about that part. They just wanted to run down and take a look. So it was definitely interesting. And Patal's right. They should examine the hell out of that planet before they land.
Yeah, at least, scan it.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, moving on. Act 1, Scary Campfire Stories. The Enterprise away team shuttles down to the planet, and the first thing Archer does is let Porthos run through the brush, picking up all sorts of intergalactic ticks. Remember, this planet is full of diverse insects. Archer insists on taking a minute to enjoy themselves, while in Archer's case means telling a woman to smile more. Archer has so much fun, he's late for a meeting, and then Trip insists that they should go camping overnight. Archer agrees. Later that night, the crew is telling scary stories around the campfire when a nasty storm suddenly hits, and they are followed by a scorpion surprise in a sleeping bag.
First off, again, let's go back to that part where introducing bacteria. You bring your dog, and obviously the dog's going to take a shit in the piss, which again, just look at that. I didn't see him with a scoop bag or a plastic bag. He didn't pick up anything.
Just let him go anywhere. It's nature. It's nature. It's okay.
Well, like Trip said, where no dog has gone before.
You know what? Porthos is really popular, though. We posted that one picture of Porthos on Instagram, lit right up. I've never seen our Instagram feed light up like that before we posted Porthos.
Everybody likes
Everyone
Porthos.
loves Porthos.
Even the ticks.
Yeah.
And, when you feed him all that cheese, he's going to make a mess at some point.
Well, you know what I thought was...
I know.
What I thought was interesting was when Meriwether was telling the campfire story about the pod that had...
I love the way that story ended.
Right? Well, he said that, the pod, the guy had drifted in through space through 63 years, and there was one life form, but when they got there was nothing in there. But you know what it reminded me of? Aliens, because Ripley drifted through the star system for 57 years.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
It was very similar.
It's a classic tale that's been told 1,000 times of the lone person lost in space with the robot and Will Robinson and Dr. Smith.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger, danger.
Now, did any of you guys have this happen to you? I remember the first away mission that I was on, and I get there, and I'm expecting an alien world is going to look so alien. And it's like, what the fuck? This looks like a park by my house. How does this look like alien other than the two moons up there? You're expecting something to look strange.
You know what? Is it just me? Is the lawn look mowed over there?
Yes, I was thinking that.
The first scene, I was like, okay, it looks a little grown. I'll give it that. Maybe the deer came over and ate it in a level fashion that, only alien deer can. But when they left, I could clearly see the mowing trails in the grass. It's just like, somebody's mowing this place. The only thing I could have used more is a trail to walk on, because they're walking through the forest like it's nothing, but they could have posted a trail in there and put up a sign that says, walk here, aliens. It was like brand new planet, not touched by anybody, and you can walk on the grass.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, we finally retired. Let's go to our vacation planet that we claimed and bought for us. What the fuck? Somebody landed here? Why is it trash? Is that a ripped up tent?
Exactly.
Who was here?
Somebody's smelling our flowers.
Well, at least they mowed.
And the dog took a shit and they didn't pick it up.
It's like, oh my God, we were going to do 420 and a storm came and blew up our crop.
Well, they were getting all paranoid, though, when that scorpion jumped and tripped.
That was funny.
He screamed like a little girl.
Now here's a question. Would you smush it or would you find the phase pistol and stun it?
Smush.
I would have stunned it. Because it's a life form. You don't know if it was the intelligent life form or what.
Oh, good point.
I would have stunned it while I was in the sleeping bag. I might even, stun my foot to make it go to sleep. Because if something's moving in the sleeping bag, it shouldn't be moving. I'm stunning everything in there.
Give me your shoes so I can squash it.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have screamed like a bab toy.
He did, didn't he? He totally
I wouldn't have screamed like a bab toy. I'm the security officer.
It's like, are we allowed to squash alien life forms? They're in your sleeping bag.
I think there's protocol.
Well, T'Pol was like, shoot it. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm trying to sleep. Leave us alone.
And we've seen this bug before, too. He resembled a parasite that was seen in the Next Generation conspiracy.
Did look familiar, didn't it?
Oh,
Yep.
Good pickup. So, yeah, kill it.
Now, the question is, was it actually there or was it imagined?
Ooh.
Good thought. Yeah.
The funny thing about the ghost story is it was clearly, and it took me a moment to realize this. Of course, this was foreshadowing. He's telling the spooky story about somebody going crazy. And what happens later in the episode? They all fucking go crazy.
Whack-a-doodle.
Yeah, but then the strong wind comes. And again, what happened to the sensors on the Enterprise? Couldn't they tell that a storm was coming? It says, y'all need to leave.
It just, though nobody did a weather forecast. Al Roker was not aboard the Enterprise.
No.
No, else he would have said something.
Exactly.
Hello down there.
You think you'd land somewhere where there wouldn't be that much weather, but I guess it was a sudden storm that just kind of happens. They're not used to this kind of weather pattern.
I said it would have been nice if Porthos was still there. Then Porthos would have turned into some sort of demon werewolf dog. I would have loved to see that.
Attack of the mini dogs.
Attack of the killer
Beagles.
Porthos.
Mm-hmm.
So how long do you think it takes them to shuttle a craft down to the planet? Like an hour, 2 hours?
Well, down's the easy part. It takes a while to get up.
That's what she said.
Well, if you want to get in the right orbit, at least by our technology, I'm not sure. Shuttle pod technology is probably a lot quicker than our modern day equivalents. But it does take some time to fly through that atmosphere.
Yeah, but they still have to hit at the right angle.
You got to hit the right angle. You can't go too fast. fast. You don't want to burn up.
Sounds like there's a lot of performance anxiety involved.
Well, you just got to fly correctly. And when you get there, you got to nail the landing. You can't like bump into that comes in later. But yeah, it takes a while to get back down.
Okay.
Anyway, next section.
Well, that sounds like that was one of Heather's rants was coming in. Oh, go ahead,
yes.
Heather, next section.
Okay, before we move on to the next section, I just want to rant about one more thing in this section. Don't fucking tell a woman to smile.
Oh, damn.
There's my rant. Don't fucking tell a woman to smile.
Well, I mean, it was a group picture.
It doesn't matter. You never tell a woman to smile.
Yeah, Vulcans don't smile anyway, so it's like, what?
You know what? Where was this camera last episode? They could have brought with them and take pictures of the dead bodies hanging. I mean, for science reasons.
Right.
Well, that's a hell of a reel to develop. Can you imagine that? Oh, look, here's a dog. There's some flowers. There's a bunch of corpses hanging upside down. Here's
a group photo. Oh, and he should have taken a selfie too, because he was in front of everybody else. When stand it, hold it in front of your face, get everybody behind you, and get the hashtag selfie.
Exactly. It should have been a selfie, and that camera was huge.
That was a big camera. I've seen iPads smaller than that camera.
Right.
Yeah. What happened to the Follow Me drone cameras that they have?
Ooh, that would have been some cool stuff.
Yeah, but no, didn't have it. Okay, Heather, next section.
Okay, moving on to the next section. Act 2, Stupid Storm. Reed tells the captain about the storm, and the away team verifies that they have to relocate to some caves. Malcolm goes back for the food packs and sees dead people, or rock people, or whatever. When he tells the crew, they gaslight him and tell him he's imagining it. One of the crew freaks out, runs away, and Trip and Malcolm follow him. T'Pol think that this is a great time to split up and search the caves. When they regroup, T'Pol is accused of secretly talking to the rock people. Archer and Reed take a shuttle to go pick everyone up, but it's too windy, they can't do it, and the crew has to stay on this planet a bit longer.
With that guy who freaked out and heard voices.
Novakovich.
Yeah, he's like, oh my God, something. And he goes out in the storm and huddles like by a tree, and he's totally freaked out. Meanwhile, what's her name? The bug lady?
Cutler, yeah.
Cutler. Yeah, she follows T'Pol and sees T'Pol talking to somebody rather than going up and asking what's going on, or at least ask T'Pol what's going on. She just assumes.
Logic just gets tossed out the window. We don't need to make sense of anything. Let's just do the first thing we feel sounds natural.
It's like
crazy.
She's meeting with enemies. They want to do, and then that echoes like you said. It winds up echoing in Trip's head, and Trip's like, "Yeah, something's going on. I see things."
Well,
and
Trip everybody's flipping out. Trip gave a direct order to T'Pol. I'm going to go look. We're going to go take a look and see if we can find Novakovich. And he says to T'Pol and Cutler, "Stay here. I'm going to go take a look. Yep. Stay here. I'll be right back." What happens? T'Pol goes, "I'm going to go look over here." Now, you're on an alien planet in a dark cave, and it's a major storm going on. You're not sticking together? Why are you guys splitting up? So right there, like, logic got thrown out the window for me.
I know. I'm like, they're leaving Cutler there by herself. Okay.
It's like, a horror movie. They walk into that room by themselves with the lights off. And why are you doing that? Don't walk in the room. Don't go in there. No!
Well, thankfully, Merriweather went with Tucker, because otherwise the black guy's always the first one to die.
It's an allergy horror story.
Where's my Zyrtec?
Worst allergy horror story ever.
I'm allergic to planets.
My father was a planet.
And that one quote was hilarious. Archer's like, "Get back to the cavern." And Ethan's like, "Go to hell."
It was great.
That was awesome.
What? Here's a direct order. Get back. Go to hell. Click. What the hell is that?
And the looks they gave each other. Yup.
The one thing, they get to the cave and they're like, "There's no food. Nobody brought the food. Don't you guys have backpacks? Nobody grabbed the food out of the tents." And the flashlights. I mean, come on. Flashlights are even better now. I mean, technology in the late 90s, early 2000s, flashlights were that bright. But nowadays, you can freaking stick up a light and light an entire dang room with the thing. I mean, why did they have better lights?
They should have had a camera and a flashlight on a little, small little, thimble.
And a drone.
Yeah.
And a dot bot to walk around with them and say beep, beep?
You don't have separate electronic components for this. It should all be in one.
Well, first off, how fucking hungry are you? You just had a campfire. You just fucking ate around the campfire. And as soon as you get to the cave, you're like, where's the grub?
Where the food at? There's nothing else to do here.
You just got here. It's like, we ran several hundred feet. Now I'm thirsty.
Did we leave the s'mores back at the fire? Damn it.
Them rock people give you hungry.
And it's like, oh my God, really? And then one guy, Cutler, whatever. No, that's not Cutler. The other guy,
Novakovich.
Ethan. Novakovich. And it's like, we got no way to get him. He says, well, as much as I don't want to use the beaming technology, let's beam him up.
That's the next section.
Next section. As much as I want to beam him up, I can't do that because that's the next section.
When they saw rock people, all he could channel was Gorignak. Remember Gorignak from Galaxy Quest?
Gorignak.
Oh, okay.
Rock.
Cool.
See, he should have asked Meriwether, should have said, well, what's his motivation?
Exactly.
Did you guys know that those rock creatures, they were an abandoned story idea, a story concept that was developed for Star Trek V, The Final Frontier?
Yeah, really? I just heard another podcast talk about that. They were talking about the movie Star Trek V, but apparently that was an effect they were trying to do. They're trying to do so. It was supposed to be like 20 rock people or 200 rock people, and they couldn't do the effect quickly enough. So they got like maybe 3 rock people. Like, no, that's not going to be. Well, they got 1. They actually got down to the time to do the production. They only had 1, and it was kind of pitiful.
I didn't know about that. Oh,
the more you know.
Rock people aren't easy. Before we had computers,
it's hard for rock people.
Rock hard.
Oh my God. Okay.
Rocky, is that your kind?
Yeah.
The rock people?
Sure. I like the rock. AC/DC fan, big time.
Yes.
Is that why when you go into engineering and I ask for you to increase the power output, you go, it's clobbering time?
Another rock type person.
Clobbering time.
Yes.
Outstanding. At least we know.
We'll just start calling you Dwayne.
No. He's from Hayward too, by the way. But yeah, go smell what he's cooking. To Paul, nobody trusts the Vulcan girl. What is up with this? I mean, even Trip.
It's because the 100 years of them always putting a governor.
But even Trip was like rubbing the decon gel on her. I mean, let me rub gel on you, and you're still.
Yeah, but
don't trust me.
The thing is whatever's. I mean, we don't know what's happening to them yet, quote unquote, in the storyline. But whatever's happening to him is taking away all his logical thinking, and it's all based instincts.
All crazy, yeah.
It's all based instincts and survival.
Yeah, lizard brain. He's all going down to lizard brain. Yeah.
An archer bumps the shuttle on the rock, like Trip likes to fly. Apparently, they went to the same driver school.
Yeah, seriously, they both like to scratch shit up when they're landing.
People like to use equipment sometimes. There's always these one people you give the pod to, or you hand them a tricorder. It comes back broken.
How do you pass Academy Flight School if you keep bumping into shit?
Right. Bumper shuttles.
Yeah, they have big rubber bumpers on those shuttles for a reason.
At least shuttle baby buggy bumpers.
Yes.
Well, at least on Voyager, they had somebody who was acknowledged was Paris, was supposed to be the acknowledged pilot. Janeway didn't come and say, like, I can fly better than you. She was like, they knew Paris. They need something with maneuvering. Paris did it. The same thing when it comes to you want an expert pilot, you get Sulu. But Archer's like, I'm doing all the things. It's like, it should have been somebody else who was really better.
I'm going to explore the spaceships. I'm going to explore the worlds. I'm going to do everything.
Well, you know what? I mean, considering in the timeline, I would think that, him being captain, he wouldn't have to know how to do everything. Whereas, when we get to the Voyager period, it's more specialized because they realize that you need to be focused on just one thing as opposed to being, so multitasking.
Yeah. Understanding how a crew works and where you put the strengths in your crew into the right departments.
Right. And why did they send their best pilot, which I think is Wary-Metter? Why did they send him down? I don't recall why they sent him down.
I don't remember why they sent him down, but they definitely apparently, he flew it down, didn't he?
They sent him down because they needed a red shirt. They just didn't want to put the red shirt on him because they didn't want to spoil the surprise.
Novakovich was wearing
Novakovich was the red.
He was wearing red underwear. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and that started the whole thing right there. This color red means danger. Let's get him.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger.
Yes.
I think the only time a red shirt didn't really die right off the bat is in the original series when you had these guys that turned people into sugar cubes, and they had turned a black security guard with the woman who was in another division, turned them into sugar cubes, and he picked one to crush, and Kirk didn't know which one, and it wound up being the girl.
Oh, geez.
Did you know that was Bjork's first band, the Sugar Cubes?
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
cool.
Her first band was called the Sugar Cubes.
All I know is that's a horrible way to store a person is in cube form. You just accidentally trip and you knock over or step on, and there goes Johnson. Sorry, Johnson.
Yeah, that was an interesting episode. But since we're not doing a podcast on the TOS,
yeah, exactly. Hey, Archer, the scene right in the beginning where Archer throws the ball at Malcolm. This is like the hint into Archer's sport. He's like into this thing called, is it water polo is what he's into?
Yes.
Yeah, he was into water polo. And that was the first time we've ever seen the hint of that, I think. It was big into water polo. He'd like watching old games and stuff. I mean, of all the things you guys watch, water polo? But Archer's
kind of water polo in high school.
Yeah, well, some people have, but I mean, do you watch it?
I do. I watch it at the Olympics.
Yeah, well, there you go.
They have it at the Olympics?
Yeah.
It had me thinking of all the sports all the various captains are into. I mean, Picard was into fencing, and he also did some horseback riding. Sisko was, of course, the baseball fiend, and Captain Kirk apparently liked to climb a rock. Janeway?
She was into coffee picking.
She was into coffee hunting. She was a coffee hunter.
Kirk was into mud wrestling with Gorn.
with green things, yes.
Yes, with Gorn.
And then Captain of the Cerritos, was Choo Choo Dance?
The choo-choo dance.
I don't know. It started me on this trail. I was like, what do all the captains, what is their sport activity they like to do? And it had me thinking.
That's something we should ask out there. You guys out there, if you know or have a complete list, let us know. Make a comment on our premiere if you're listening. So that's probably you, Dom, or some of the other guys. Just send us a wave. Let us know.
Hi, Dom.
So are we going on our next section now?
Yes. Next section, Act 3, Poison Pollen, which I feel that every allergy season. Things get heated between Trip and T'Pol, and not in a decontamination sort of way. The captain transport Ethan onto the ship without his consent, but there is a transporter malfunction and the twigs and rocks are merged with the crewmen. We're lucky we didn't see his head explode. Trip goes on an unhinged paranoid rant. The captain calls down when shit starts to hit the fan, and he tells Trip to put the gun down. The pollen, carried by the wind, causes hallucinations and anxiety. The captain can't pick them up for another 9 hours, and Ethan might die from toxins related to the pollen. This turned out to be a pretty deadly camping trip.
Pollen's really messing with these people. I mean,
it really did. It really was.
You think the instinct was to let's go further down the cave and keep searching. That might have been the solution, to get further away from the outside pollen, go further in the cave. All they had to do was keep following that phantom down the cave, and maybe they would have turned out just fine.
Yeah, because they were right at the opening. They didn't go very far at all. It was just blowing all that pollen right in there.
And they got they were dosed by the time they got in there. It was just starting to take effect.
And you can tell the pollen was mushrooms because they were hallucinogenic. So they were probably hallucinogenic mushroom spores. And then when you had that guy, Collier, what's his name again? I keep messing his name up.
Ethan?
Novakovich?
Yeah. Well, with Ethan, when he got beamed up, that just further cements in Archer's mind, we can't use that transporter for shit. Look what happened to this guy.
Dude, I can't believe he used the transporter again. Let's never use this on people. Okay, let's use this on people in like 2 freaking episodes back to back.
It was really that moment. I mean, you were sitting there listening to the guy scream like crazy over comms. It's like, Jesus Christ, we got to do something. What if only we could just like go get him without having to, instantly, wait for a shuttle pod to go down and fly. Let's just go get. oh, we can beam him. Let's beam him.
Yeah, but they understand that when you beam them, you're sort of killing the person and reassembling them.
And that's what Bones' big thing was. And then they said, we can't separate the biosignature. Yeah, so what? Beam him anyway.
Yes!
And then he comes up looking like a starter kit for the swamp thing.
He wanted to go hang out by the trees in the forest and, kind of go out into the forest and relax and become one with the trees. He
was a Chia Pet Starter Kit.
Don't transport on a windy day.
He literally became one with the trees.
Dude, if that's the case, I'm glad there wasn't any flies around because he would have been the fly.
Oh, yeah.
Jeff Goldblum.
Yes.
You know what reminded me of this transporter accident when I saw it? I was like, oh, God, this is how Tuvix became. Both of those guys got blended, but it was also the combination with the local plant life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He would have been Novakovich.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome.
Great. That's well done, sir.
That was cute.
Novakovich.
Then you have what you call oh my God, the Phlox. It's like, I can take care of him. And he also had something happen, which Archer also learned, which I think is the next part. So I'm not going to talk about that.
Well, I just love the conversation with Phlox. Archer says, can I talk to him? And Phlox is like, sure, but it won't be effective. He's tripping balls, sir.
Yeah, I know. That was funny. That made me laugh that phrase made it.
And then he asks Apollo, she's Vulcan, but would she be affected the same way? And Phlox is like, more or less. If Phlox is not a Mr. Definite all the time, he's definitely kind of got a wishy answer, oh, maybe, possibly, but no.
Well, I mean, this is Apollo. I mean, he has no idea what this contaminant is or how it interacts, species wise. So of course he can't give any definitive answers.
Right. It's the first time they've been on this planet. They don't even know exactly what it is. They're just guessing. Yeah.
And it is a very big unknown that they're going into.
And they have Trip looking kind of like Kirk did when Kirk had two of his personalities beam aboard the Enterprise, except they didn't use a lighting trick to highlight Trip's wild eyes.
It was all
just
bad.
Like sprayed him. Yeah, they just made him look sweaty and it made his hair look all wet. And he was kind of really, thankfully, Wary Mother just passed right the fuck out. So he was done. So was Cutler. She was just passed out.
Yeah, they took a nap.
So just like some people, when they get drunk, they pass out.
And some people get violent and some people, you're right.
Yeah, and he was making stuff up right off the bat. You're this, you're that, you're evil. And she is beginning to slowly lose it herself. So
yeah, he was a paranoid mess.
Oh
well, you could tell T'Pol was losing it because her little emotional outburst.
Yeah, she started to get loud. When Vulcans get loud, you start to worry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That measured tone they have is no longer there. There's something wrong.
Yeah, let's get loud. Let's get loud. She was really, and he just like, there's rock things and he's seeing stuff and he's there and she's trying to explain it to him, but he's not getting it. And even Archer's like, put it down. The first time he kind of listened a little bit, but he's like, you're not seeing what I'm seeing. I'm going to protect the whole ship, which is kind of commendable in a way because he wants to protect the ship.
But he's out of his head, so it wasn't the right answer.
You know what I just thought of that reminded me when I watched this the other night on it was a repeat of Law Order SVU when it was a Karen in the park and accusing a black man of harassing her or whatever, and then there was a dead body, and then the Karen blamed the black guy for the dead body, which wasn't there, but then there was this whole big thing about it because it was filmed by all these passerbys and one PP was coming down on the detectives and Benson was interviewed. And when she was being interviewed, the cop was like, what are your biases? And Olivia's like, I don't have any biases. What are you talking about? And she's like, I don't have any biases. So she had to examine herself and determine where in the process of the investigation and or the arrest was her own implicit bias towards black men. And you kind of see that in here with Trip's implicit bias of Vulcans. Whether he's nice to T'Pol, when they're sober, but when he's delusional and under the influence of this spore, his real feelings come out. It kind of correlated for me. Am I off base?
No, sometimes the person's real self comes out when they get to their lizard brain, and you can kind of tell what's in the cage because the cage door gets flipped open. And he really was untrustworthy. But then again, even T'Pol agreed that we don't have a good track record of being transparent with you guys. So even she says, I get it. I think that was a moment for her, even though she was actually kind of nutsy. She realized that, we didn't exactly treat you guys right also. So it was definitely interesting. And I think the next section, which I want to talk about, is the next section where it comes to with Phlox's thing.
So Act 4, Hangover Regrets. Archer tries to talk Trip out of shooting T'Pol, but it doesn't work. So instead, he decides to use improv. Archer fabricates an entire story about the Rock people and a top secret mission with T'Pol playing along. They finally get Trip to lower his weapon and T'Pol shoots his ass. With stun, of course. Then she injects everyone, including herself, with the antidote. The next morning, they all wake up, hungover, and embarrassed by last night's behavior. The captain picks them up, and we learn that Ethan is going to be physically okay. Mentally, not so much. Now he spends his days in a padded room, never to be seen from again.
Really?
Yeah, you never see him again.
That must have been a bonus scene. I never, we never see him again at all, you mean?
Yeah,
Actually,
never again.
I had to get approval to give Heather access because that was a sealed file.
Yeah.
That's secret.
So
Thank you,
secret
Captain.
stuff.
She saw it. I guess it did happen last part, but I'll bring it up for this part, is when Phlox realized that he wasn't as sterile as he thought he should have been.
Oh, the guilt you saw in the poor guy.
So sad.
Oh man, that's some good acting right there, because he's usually always so damn chipper and happy to help. And maybe we have the answer, maybe we don't. And then dude actually gets the answer, realizes he skipped something, inadvertently. I mean, he could have done something extra that he didn't do. And it turns out that if he had that one submolecular scan, it maybe could have saved, right away.
Yeah, but like he said, there was no indication that he needed to do that with the symptoms that we're presenting.
It doesn't matter, because if you have the technology and the knowledge,
You might as well do it.
Yeah.
at least think about, but you're just like, I don't need to do that. It's like you think, I don't need to bring that spare bag of food with me when we're going to run off to the caves, because, we're not going to need that.
I don't need a condom.
And then you get to the cave and you're like, oh man, I forgot the food.
Well,
it's a little bit more serious when you're talking about a person's life.
Right. I mean, as a medical doctor, he probably has 1,000 scans and tests that he could do. And he has to mentally be like, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, and figure out which ones he wants to do. And then that just one quick instance of figuring out what test to take changes, the whole outcome.
But you can really see the genuine concern and how it really does weigh on the guy. I mean, it makes me like Phlox even more.
Oh, yeah.
It did, because, you could see it. Archer was getting ready to tell him off a little bit. And then he saw the look on his face. He turned around and he was getting ready to say something, looked at the guy, goes, oh man, he's going to totally cry. I just can't do that.
Yeah.
So that I thought was pretty interesting. But then I thought it was funny when he's telling Hoshi, and then it's like, what did T'Pol said? It's like, Vulcans don't do role play, but he's good.
That was awesome.
Yeah, sir, about that idea you have, that's not really a thing for Vulcans.
She did pretty good for improv.
Trip was also really, 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 really tripping. So you could have told him the Tooth Fairy came down and made an alignment with the Cardassians to tell the Klingons, to tell the Rock people, to tell them to bother you with the Vulcan. And he would have believed that shit. I mean, he was that messed up in the head at the moment.
He really was.
That should have been my episode title, is Trip and Trip. Trip is tripping.
Trip was tripping balls.
He really was. And then he's like, oh man, he goes, I really said those things, huh? I didn't mean it.
Oh, he literally said, I'm going to split you in two. I mean, dude, buy her dinner first.
Seriously, what the hell? But he really, and then he wakes up wearing mother. It's like, what'd you guys do to my neck? She
just gave him a little Vulcan. It was probably him sleeping on the rock that did it. I mean, that was not a good sleeping position. I mean, I know you want to cuddle up with Cutler over there because she looks like a nice place to cuddle up against. But no, his neck was all fucked up from sleeping against the rock. It wasn't the neck
Speaking
bench.
of which, we never saw Cutler again either.
No, we saw her a couple more times.
No, during the series?
She appears a couple more times. This was kind of a sad part of the story here. Her name's Kelly Wademeyer. She's an actress. She was in 2 more episodes. She was also in an episode of Voyager. She was a working actress back then, doing all kinds of cool gigs, and she was blowing up. They were actually considering her to be, if not bring her back a few more times, make her a regular. Unfortunately, she passed away in 2003. She had a heart condition, undiagnosed cardiac arrhythmia is what killed her. Very sad story. Very talented woman. But
it's a shame because I liked her in that role.
Very good.
She was genuine.
Very genuine, very natural.
Yeah.
And it was a character you could definitely get a likeness to, kind of like Tilly. She's got that, the bug girl kind of thing going on, but you kind of like her.
Yeah, she was only 36 years old.
Very young at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, she was very young.
And she was doing pretty good with the career. I mean, she was on, all kinds of stuff. And Star Trek was a big one.
I'm glad we're rewatching it again because I'm definitely going to look for her.
Mm-hmm.
It was definitely to see how Archer was able to trust T'Pol to do that role play thing, and Trip thinking that he wanted to protect the ship. And he had to tell Archer's like, if you don't do this, I'm going to have to blow the cave and seal you in there.
Yeah.
And he's like,
okay, Captain.
Okay. Well, then I get it. And he also had history. Remember when you had nitrous oxide poisoning and you wanted to take off your helmet and I told you not to?
Yeah. I mean, he's had that moment where he's gone just a little bit crazy and come back from it. And you would think that experience would shape his, viewpoint from this point of view too. But in fact, it had no effect whatsoever. You would think going through something like that would change your mind about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe he didn't realize he was
it's possible
being affected, that he didn't know what was going on. So you can't change something that you don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you got a point.
I liked the big line of this show. He was talking about his biology class instructor, who was actually Vulcan in 10th grade, Mr. Velick. I mean, it was like, who the hell's Mr. Velick when he mentioned him? But they brought it back at the end and said he was the biology teacher. But they said to him, challenge your preconceptions or they'll challenge you.
Yeah, it's a good line.
It was a great line.
Mm-hmm.
That should be a t-shirt.
Really good line.
Yeah.
It's seriously, now that you said it, I'm going to look to see if they have it on Etsy or something like that.
And Archer said a quote that I was, he said, turns out the pollen contains some kind of toxin that our sensors didn't detect. And I'm like, excuse me? You're the one that didn't want to wait for the sensors to go detect it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Why? I couldn't know the sensors wouldn't have detected that.
They didn't detect it because you didn't want to wait for them.
We're explorers. Sometimes you don't have to wait for the sensor robots to censor things. Come on.
Like facepalm moment.
Who would have known?
It's like they say in survival. This says, well, you can eat anything once.
Once, yeah, exactly.
Well, it was kind of like Phlox. It's like Phlox had all the treatments, and he was treating away, and then the neurotoxin developed. And how was he supposed to know? He didn't know. He wasn't running that scan to find out.
And did you guys know that Ethan was supposed to die? So originally, Ethan was supposed to die. He was supposed to be the first crew member to die aboard the Enterprise.
Really?
But then, but his death, it was actually written in an early draft in the episode, but during the filming, Scott Bakula was concerned that it didn't seem right to kill off Ethan without dealing with his loss. And since they didn't have the time to have all the crew members and everyone deal with his loss, they wrote it out of there.
Oh, wow. And that was from Bakula, huh?
Oh, and they just put him in a padded room.
Mm-hmm.
Allegedly.
Yep. Well, he's Bakula's. If you want to see something in his earlier film role I believe it was before he did Enterprise, is a football movie called Unnecessary Roughness.
Oh, good movie.
And it's a really good movie. He's in it with Sinbad and Kathy Ireland and some stuff about playing college football. Really, really good movie. And you guys should see it. It'll make you laugh. It's definitely worthwhile watching. And he also does sports in it. He's the quarterback, the oldest in college history. But it was a good movie. What did you feel overall in your rants there, Heather, about this episode?
Everybody brace for impact.
Archer's a dick.
He doesn't listen.
It's amazing how you look at, when you watch Star Trek initially and, we're in space, we're explorers and the captain's in charge and knows everything. And then you're watching it for, really, that's what he did? That's why they did that? Why? How many times did Janeway almost kill everybody on Voyager?
Thank you.
I mean, how many times does the captain of the ship almost do everybody in like that? Now, it does, we could attend some simple, easy to do precautions that, it only took a couple days to run the scanners through. Maybe they would have found out the place was tripping balls. Maybe they wouldn't have. But we could at least have gotten so much more data involved.
Yeah, all he had to do was wait. All he had to do was do the sensors, wait, and put the safety of the crew ahead of his, let's go exploring. And
I blame Porthos because Porthos really wanted to go out.
Yeah.
He needed to go.
The way he talks to women, I'm just saying.
Well, we're going to see how much the show grows as the season progresses, because we're beginning to see some character development shifts. So it'll be interesting as it goes through. Yeah, curiosity. Do you know what the next one's going to be, Heather?
We can wait and edit this in.
I looked it up earlier too, and I just don't remember. Give me 1 second.
It's called Unexpected.
Oh, thank you.
I'm just like trying to figure out why I didn't see Ensign Mount anywhere in this episode called Strange New World.
Right?
Ensign Mount was, he's over there doing like Super Bowl commercials. That's why you didn't see him.
Have you guys seen any of the snippets of that online? I haven't looked at all of them, but I'm like, what the fuck is CBS doing?
Yep, both of them, Patrick Stewart and him.
And these are their Super Bowl productions, promotions. These are the big, every eye is going to be looking at these things. These are the ads we're going to put in front of millions of people. And you're like, what the fuck are they doing? Like they're walking on a cliff in the snow?
Is it the expedition?
And they're combining Michael Burnham with other things. Is like, what are they doing?
It's because of Paramount. What happened is CBS Access is going away.
They're doing the big promotion.
Are you serious?
For Paramount Plus. That's the whole big thing. But
that's what
this is what they decided to do to promote that. I'm like, really?
Yeah, they're trying to get everything. Because right now, when people cut the cord, all the companies and all the cable companies and everybody went, holy shit, we lost money. They're fast forwarding through commercials and everything else. We need to do this. And Netflix makes more money than most countries. Let's follow Netflix model and offer a streaming service.
And they keep raising their rates too, because you think it's gotten one level, but no, they keep raising the level a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, they have. My price just went up.
Yeah.
So now if you want to see stuff, they're doing it like a la carte. Now, if you want to be able to watch anything on science, you got to get Discovery Plus. If you want to be able to watch BBC shows, you got to get BBC America or get a program that has that rolled in. If you want sports, you need, ESPN Plus, or you can't see your local games.
You know what, though? If you've got the good connection, though, I find the quality of some of the shows streaming is actually light years better than when we recorded on the TiVo, because everything comes in so much clearer. The surround sound's not fucked up with by the stations.
I agree.
It's all beautiful on the streaming. Only problem with the streaming is if some idiot cuts the cable outside, like we had a gardener slice our cable connection and it fucked it all up for like a couple days while we had to wait for the cable company to come fix it.
Well, that's what, when I moved into this new place and I plugged in my modem and they say, oh, well, it wasn't getting any kind of connection. Someone had cut the cable outside.
Are you shitting me?
Yeah, they do that sometimes. Yeah, when people don't pay the bill because people make their own tools, and I won't say how do I know that, they'll come and just cut the cable to keep people from reconnecting it in order to get it to the box.
That's so messed up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'll go reconnect the cable. I mean, I can reconnect the cable, but I'm like, you know what? This is, if they see you messing with the cable, then they're probably going to do something. So I'm like, okay, call the cable guy over here. They'll fix it.
Yeah.
But anyway, the actual straight connection coming right off their server, right onto your screen is that much better. And you don't get the commercials. You don't get some of them get commercials. It depends on whether or not the service is commercial free or not. Has anybody said whether or not Paramount Plus is going to be commercial free?
They have the two options.
They said they're still going to do the two option things.
The same option. So if you have commercial free, it carries over.
I think this is just a big fancy rebranding because somebody said maybe we should call it a better name than All Access.
It is. And what they're doing is that they're including other.
Well, they merged with Viacom, so they've got all that material too that they're moving it all to. Yeah.
So everybody's fighting to get the streaming going to all the shows rather than when you used to see for free. You can't see for free anymore. You need to, over the air is becoming small pickings. However, because I love our listeners, I will tell you that there's stuff if you want to still be entertained with that you don't have to pay anything. You just basically need a internet connection. And they have CW Seed, which has a lot of shows that was on back in the day that you'll be able to see without a problem. I mean, they have a lot of them if you want to be able to watch TV.
Peacock has a lot of free stuff.
There's a lot of free stuff on there. CWC, again, no subscription. You don't even have to sign in. They got stuff like the old 91210, Nikita, Forever, Schitt's Creek, The Game, the Tomorrow People, Limitless. So there's stuff on that.
And Pluto TV has specialized channels too. They have a Star Trek channel.
Yep. And there's Pluto TV, like Pat just said. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff there for you to be able to see.
And once I finish watching all of YouTube, I'll check these out.
You're going to finish watching all of YouTube. Okay.
So I did that once when I wasn't working. I've got a thing on Netflix and it came up, says, you've seen everything we have. Turn it off. Get a life.
I think that happened to Homer Simpson once.
Oh my God. That's when I watched all of Supernatural. I forgot how many seasons. It was like 24 episodes a season. And it was just unreal. Okay. We've really jumped off the path here.
Yes, we have.
My computer person needs to get stuff done as well. So next week's show is going to be what? Remind us again, Heather?
It's unexpected.
Well,
I mean, everybody knows it. You can Google it and find out what it's called.
Well, I'm expecting you to tell you, Heather.
It's season 1, episode 5, Unexpected. That's the name of the title.
Sorry, I'm giving you a bad time.
Oh my
you were
God.
so giving me crap.
What the hell?
Busting her balls.
Patrick,
sorry.
I'm glad you came back to us safe and sound. You're going to be here next week?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah.
I didn't see any orders for you leaving. Okay.
Isn't next week's episode when Trip gets pregnant?
Are you serious?
That's a good one. Oh my God.
I think it is that one.
It blew my mind when I saw that the first time. I was like, oh my God.
I'm just want to see. I don't remember if he gets hot flashes. I'd like to check that and see if that happens.
Yes, and I will be here next week.
All right. And that means everybody will be here next week. We'll look to see if we can get ourselves a guest. If not, we have to talk about sneaking and maybe getting Rocky's sister again without Rocky knowing. Oh, damn it. I'd say that out loud. Oh, well, nevertheless, thank you everybody for joining us. Please just don't have a great week, but make it so.
Starfleet Underground, beaming into a podcast feed near you. Log on to our website at starfleetunderground.com and send your comments and questions to thecollective@starfleetunderground.com. Follow us on Twitter at StarfleetUnderG and on Facebook and Instagram, we're Starfleet Underground.